Lakers talk is on.
710 ESPN.
If the Lakers play defense, they're going to win a lot of games.
Valanciunas has got it. Blocked from behind by Kuzma. Beautiful block by Kuz.
It's Lakers Talk with Allen Sliwa.
I got to imagine there's enough vets on this Lakers team that are reminding all these Lakers players, okay, these games don't have to be perfect, but find a way when it's all said and done to come out with a win.
Lakers go into Memphis for the first of 2 games against the Grizzlies, and they win convincingly.
From the home of the world champs at LA Live, this is Lakers Talk.
Here's Allen Sliwa.
What is going on, Laker fans? What is going on? Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the show. Little Lakers talk tonight. All right, so just finished on 710 ESPN. Did a couple hours there. And then, of course, we come on here. We do I was almost going to say 2-hour social show. We are not doing a 2-hour social show. Let me get that out there right out the gate. But I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. All right, Lakers 5-2 on the season. We got another one coming up tomorrow. So pregame show with myself and MT starts at 3:30, tip-off at 5. Lakers and the Memphis Grizzlies, not that many storylines between these two teams. Let me just go ahead and say that as well. It's kind of funny yesterday. You know, Lakers playing. Michael Thompson always talks about how, I mean, and I'm sure, you know, fans feel the same way. How much do we love watching some of these young players in the league? Like, you really do genuinely enjoy watching some of these young stars, but no John Morant, no Jaren Jackson Jr., Justice Winslow. So you're missing a lot of key pieces. So if you're the Lakers, just take care of business, handle business. Maybe they can give LeBron James and Anthony Davis some rest in that fourth quarter. So that obviously is going to be a big part of it. Okay, so I want to start the show. So we're 7 games in, and we have got a chance to watch these new additions on this Lakers team. And we've also got a chance to watch, you know, obviously these players that have been on the roster now for the last couple of years continue to try and grow with the team. So question I got for Laker fans out there is, other than LeBron and Anthony Davis, what Lakers player have you been most impressed with so far? So you can kind of start listing here on the chat. I'll read off some of your chats as we go. Let me give my point in here real quick. And then once I finish mine, I'll start getting your guys' opinions and thoughts. So real quick, I think there's only really 4 players that you can probably put in this category that you're most impressed with so far this year. So I think there's probably some Laker fans out there that might highlight Kyle Kuzma. I think there's some Laker fans out there that might appreciate what KCP continues to bring to the table. I think Montrezl Harrell, no question about it, has got to be a player that, you know, I'm sure a lot of Laker fans are not just impressed with, you know, what he's done so far. It's such a small sample size, but what they think he's going to be for the Lake Show over the next 20, 30, 50 games, and then obviously the rest of the season. And then the other player, Dennis Schroeder, I think those 4 players are the ones that you can kind of key in on and say, okay, well, other than LeBron and Anthony Davis, these role players for the Lake Show, for me, it's kind of an easy one. I probably just don't hesitate on this. I appreciate Montrezl's 13 points and 7.5 rebounds a game. I appreciate Kuz kind of coming in and trying to fit in where he can. KCP continuing to contribute. But Dennis Schroeder I've been most impressed with. So I kind of look at what Dennis Schroeder has been so far for the Lakers. You know, it's kind of funny with Schroeder. We're expecting him to deliver this season. No question about it. The guy was a runner-up for 6th Man of the Year last year. But I think he's such a perfect fit for what the Lakers need. You guys remember this. A month ago, I was coming on this show, and I was talking about how I thought Dennis Schroeder is going to be better coming off the bench for the Lakers. I was talking about how, no, Wesley Matthews should be in the starting lineup. That's a perfect example of using a player like last year. Remember, Danny Green was in the starting role. So I'm one that's, you know, now watching the preseason and watching the regular season, and I actually don't think you could take Dennis Schroeder out of that starting lineup anymore. I think he's actually incredibly important to keep there. He adds such a great dynamic for the Lakers that we really haven't had. I'm going to give you guys an example. So Rondo last season, for the most part, during the regular season, Rondo was inconsistent. You weren't depending on Rondo night in, night out to be the man off the bench. In the playoffs, it was different. In the Orlando bubble, Rondo was everything to the Lakers. He is as much to do with earning that championship as any other role player for the Lakers. He was a big part. But for Schroeder, I think you could get this out of 72 games. Like, I don't think right now, if you look at his stats, he's 16, 5, and 4 a game, 5 assists and 4 rebounds. That's not going anywhere. Like, I could see those numbers only improving for Dennis Schroeder and continuing to be, obviously a big piece for the Lakers. So for me, it's Dennis Schroeder. Let me read off a couple comments, see what some of these other Laker fans think. Jay Smooth is going Morris and Trez. I get it. Certainly giving some love to more of those players. Tanner on YouTube says Schroeder because of his consistency. He has been incredibly consistent. He just adds an element. I mean, he can attack the basket. He can score inside the paint. He's got the ability to be a legitimate threat for the Lakers. And he's kind of a pest on defense, kind of one of those guys that you want on your team on the defensive side. I was joking around with Michael Thompson after Lakers played Portland. And I was telling Michael, I was like, Michael, did you see him and Damian Lillard chirping with one another, during the game? And the first thing I thought of was, I love it, but just not for Damian Lillard. Like, you got to pick and choose which players to talk to. Let's not pick Damian Lillard. Let's pick somebody else in the NBA. But that's his personality. That's who he is. Laker Wisdom. He's most impressed with Talen Horton-Tucker. Listen, I'm a big THT fan, but he just needs more time, right? He's going to need more playing time. I mean, Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell, these are guys that are giving legitimate minutes, 25 minutes plus. Talen Horton-Tucker is going to need more time before we're saying that as well. Daniel Baldwin on YouTube, Schroeder for sure. Cameron Curse says Dennis Schroeder has been the best and most consistent player. Are you guys just copying me here? What's going on here? Is it everybody Schroeder? No, I really do think he's the obvious one. No question about it. He's the obvious one. This is an interesting one. Somebody saying starter Kuz is what they're most impressed with, because Kuz has kind of had that opportunity to step into that starting role. He did it yesterday. Listen, for me, every time I talk about Kuzma, this is the only thing I pay attention to. If Kuz's shot is falling, great. If it's not falling, find other ways to contribute. You better be grabbing rebounds, dishing out a couple assists, see if you can get a block shot and a steal. That's how I kind of always look at Kuz. All right, let's keep reading a couple more comments here. People already telling me where they're tuning in from. You can't do that because I have not called for that yet, so just be patient with me, please. Daniel Portal Jr. on Facebook. Kuzma's been playing good, so we're good with Kuzma coming off the bench. He's been balling. Okay, so that kind of gives everybody a quick idea here. James is asking if it's King Taco time. Not yet. I appreciate you asking first. Not yet. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go into a couple more topics that I want to get into. We got 5 topics we're going to get into. Then I got some questions. I'll read off some of your guys' questions. What's going on with LeBron? Does he not know that he just turned 36 years old? Can the man act his age? Turned 36 on December 30th. And in the 2 games since he turned 36, he had the triple-double against the San Antonio Spurs. Yesterday, he was, I think, 2 rebounds shy of another triple-double. I mean, I don't know when LeBron James is going to slow down, and I hope it's not for 3-4 years from now or whatever the case is. He's got 3 more years with the Lakers if you include this season. Forget the fact, I know we're only 7 games in, and it was, 3-4 months ago that the Lakers were in the Orlando bubble and they were winning an NBA championship and he was finals MVP. So let's not pretend that LeBron James is still not the best player in the world, but forget his 23 points, almost 24 points a game. Forget his 8 rebounds. Forget his 7 assists. Forget what he's doing in the first 7 games from a stats perspective. He is still completely controlling games for the Lakers. Like I've had a few post-game shows, so far this season where I'm talking about, Anthony Davis got to be more aggressive. AD's struggling from the field, but he's got to take 20 plus shots a game because he's that good. I'll give you an example. After yesterday's game, AD 6 of 15 from the field, but he still had 3 steals and 3 block shots, so he was dominating on the other side. So there's Anthony Davis for you. But with LeBron, I don't feel like I've had any post games, and I can't remember the last time I had a post game, even including that Orlando bubble, where I'm walking away saying, you know what, LeBron didn't do enough. LeBron cost us the game. You might have games where you say, okay, well, LeBron was depending too much on the 3-point line, something along those lines. But the dude's still the best player in the world. He's 36 years old. And he still has such control of the team. You know what I mean? Like LeBron bringing the ball up the floor, or even if he's not, he's still orchestrating everything. Whether he's hitting his jumpers, or he's finding ways to get to the basket, or he's getting to the free throw line, or he's setting up other players with perfect dimes. I don't know what else you want me to tell you, but LBJ, at least I know we're only 7 games in, but so I got somebody here telling me that he's just coasting, as in he's just kind of taking his time. You're probably right. I mean, I don't even feel like – the one thing I always pay attention with LeBron, I always look at, like, I'm more concerned about his minutes than I think LeBron is. I think LeBron's just like, why is everybody concerned about how many minutes I play? Just leave me alone. Let me be. I'm pacing myself. He takes care of his body. But that's one of the things that I always watch. Like, don't you feel like as a Laker fan, anytime LeBron has under 30 minutes of play, you just feel like, I feel relaxed or something along those lines. It's just, I think that just comes from being a fan of the game and just kind of seeing what he's doing. But LeBron so far, as somebody as Don Carmillo is saying that LeBron is a cyborg. Yeah, you might be right. I mean, he just literally is watching him in night in and night out. And I'm not saying that, I'm thinking that this guy's going to have a big drop off this season, because that's not what I'm thinking at all was going to happen. But he's still, is there any player that you'd rather have this season alone on this Lakers team other than LeBron James? Pick any player you want in the league. Would you pick anyone other than LeBron James? This kind of goes back to the most valuable player, right? Would you rather have Giannis Antetokounmpo on this team over LeBron? Of course you wouldn't. Would you rather have Steph Curry? No, you wouldn't. Would you rather have James Harden? No, you wouldn't. Would you rather have Luka Doncic? No, you wouldn't. If you're trying to win a championship this year, there's no player you would rather have on your team than LeBron James. I mean, he's still at 36 doing it. Somebody's asking if they can call in. I'm going to give you my cell. I put you on speaker. Give you my cell, put you on speaker, make it happen from there. That is not happening. Let's see what else we got going on here. What's going on in this chat? LBJ for MVP. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys, but LeBron is just ridiculous. Tomorrow, keep LeBron James under 30, blowout Grizz. That's Elias Castillo. Elias, I'm with you, man. I mean, I that's the thing that, I'm going to talk about this Lakers schedule. I think I got the Lakers schedule on my rundown here. Do I got the Lakers schedule? Yeah, next is the Lakers schedule. When I kind of point out the Lakers schedule coming up, trust me, there are plenty of opportunities where I think the Lakers can take care of business and then eventually have guys like LeBron James, maybe Anthony Davis get a little bit of rest. All right, let me read a couple more here. Somebody's saying that folks were saying he was slowing down in 2015. Remember when LeBron came to the Lakers? Remember when somebody's throwing out the radio station number? Nobody's here to answer it. 877-710. Laker Wisdom. Nobody can answer that phone right now. I could see it. If you call in, I could actually see you calling in. But you guys remember that back when LeBron just signed with the Lakers? So LeBron was walking into his 16th season in the NBA. And a lot of people were like, well, LBJ is just coming to relax, hang out, do some Hollywood. He's going to raise his family in LA. This is for his post-career. The dude's been here for 2 years. He's been the best player in the world for those 2 years. He's already won an MVP and a finals MVP. I'm sorry. He's already won a championship and a finals MVP. And then this year, the favorite to win another championship. So I won't sit on this for too long, but so far, just watching LeBron James, yeah, dude is the man. By the way, I think also, too, something to keep in mind, LBJ, what he does off the court, too, with probably a lot of these players. I got people asking about the team's chemistry. Listen, a lot of what the Lakers do is, from a chemistry perspective, that is how they separate themselves from the rest of the pack. So I think that's a fair assessment to make. Okay, before I get into the Lakers schedule coming up, we'll do some roll call. So for those who don't know what roll call is, all you have to do in this chat, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube or you're on Periscope or whatever platform that you're on, we appreciate you being a part of it. Just tell us where you're tuning in from. What part of LA, what part of the state, what part of the country, what part of the world. Okay. I'll let these kind of trickle in a little bit, but I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Burbank, Chicago, Highland Park, South Carolina, San Diego, Ventura. I love this chat because either I don't get a message or there's 88 coming in at once. So it just kind of gives you guys what I'm trying to follow along with. India, thank you for being a part of the show. India, thank you for being a part of the show. Philly, Arlington, Texas, Chicago, Hawaii, the Big Apple. Somebody's listening in Manhattan Beach. Appreciate you tuning in. West Palm Beach, Colorado, Philippines. Jeremy Pena is apparently still in the Orlando bubble. So Jeremy is tuning in from the Orlando bubble. Jeremy, the bubble's over, bro. You can get out now. Akron, Ohio, thank you for being a part of the show. Temple City, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Paradise Point, San Diego, Orange County, Berlin, Germany, Hong Kong. Big fans are everywhere. Someone says they're in my living room. I don't know what's going on with some of these chats, some of these conversations. But I enjoy them, so I don't know what else to do. All right, somebody's in San Diego. Thank you for tuning in. New York, Gilroy, Commerce. Okay, have you guys seen the Lakers schedule? Have you guys seen? By the way, if I miss you, just be persistent. I'll get to you. If I already got to you and you're still posting it, stop confusing me. Doing a live show here. Trying to run a business. Okay. Santo Domingo. Thank you for being a part of the show. Anaheim, thank you for being a part of the show. Someone says they're at the UCLA health training facility. You're a liar. Japan, thank you for being a part of the show. That's awesome. Hiroshima, been there. Amazing. It's awesome that you're tuning in from there. Okay, let me keep going here. Have you guys looked at the NBA schedule? Okay, Laker fans, this is what I need some help with. All right? You guys tell me this is a W or a loss. All right? This is the next 8 games for the Lakers. So they're 5-2 right now. Obviously, 7 games in. This is the next 8 games for the Lakers. 15 games in, we'll figure out what their record is together. All right? This is what we got. Bronx, Santa Monica, thank you for tuning in. Lincoln, Nebraska, thank you for tuning in. This is what we got. I got somebody putting the schedule on there. Elias, can I put the schedule on there? I don't need you to put the schedule on. I got the schedule right here. Okay? Let me do my job here. I don't do my job. They don't need me. All right, Memphis tomorrow. That's a W. Okay? Let's stop messing around here. So that means they'd be 6-2. San Antonio at home on Thursday, 7-2. You just beat them twice on the road. Chicago on Friday. I could grab 4 of you guys in this chat room. We could go take on the Bulls, and it's going to be a competitive game. 8-2. So now you're 10 games in. You should be 8-2 at that point. You got 2 on the road against Houston. Let's say the Lakers split one of those. They win one, they lose one. They still got James Harden, John Wall. Give them some credit. You're now 9-3. Okay, you win one, you lose one. You're 9-3. All right. Oklahoma City Thunder on the road. You better win that one. Obviously, that's a team that's completely rebuilding. Then you're 10-3. The last 2 games are at home. The Pelicans and the Golden State Warriors, actually 2 decent teams, 2 teams that can be in the playoffs. Golden State, if it wasn't for Klay Thompson getting injured, certainly a playoff team. Let's be very conservative here. And let's say the Lakers split those 2 games, which I'm sure Laker fans are going to say, what are you talking about? You have 2 home games against the Pelicans and the Golden State Warriors. You should win both of those games. The worst the Lakers should be by the time they're 15 games in is 11-4. 12-3 would be great, but let's just say 11-4, 12-3. So that's the first 15 games for the Los Angeles Lakers. That's the next 8 games for the Lakers. And the reason why I keep saying, you got to take advantage of this schedule coming up. This is definitely a good schedule for the Lakers that they got in front of them, that they got to take advantage of. So first 15 games of the season, that's what I'm saying right here. All right. Mr. Spicer on Periscope says they're all wins. Come on, Sliwa. Not all wins. They could be. I mean, it's not like any of these teams are all that tough, but a team like the Lakers that also kind of will play down to their competition. It's very common in the NBA to lose games that you're supposed to win. I'll put in a loss or 2 there. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Don saying it's not an easy schedule. That's an easy schedule. Trust me. That is an easy schedule. All right, let me do this here real quick. As we go on, I do want to move on to the next topic real quick. I got a lot of people saying 9-0. They're 12-3, Elias, if they're healthy. So okay, I can see that obviously being a part of the mix. But I'll say Lakers at worst they're 11-4 by the time we're 15 games in. Okay, it's like a question I got for Laker fans. Sometimes I get in the post-game show or whatever the case is. We're 2 weeks in. Give me some concerns you got with this Lakers team. 2 weeks in, what concerns do you have with this Lakers team so far? So what is it defensively for the Lakers? Is it personnel? Is it the size or lack of size? Give me some things that you're concerned about so far this year, or so far 2 weeks into the season. Okay, let me read off a couple of these. First of all, Danny on YouTube says, when is Caruso coming back? Quick update for tomorrow. Caruso's out tomorrow. And KCP he said earlier today on a Zoom call, he's not 100%. He is feeling better, but he's going to try and give it a go tomorrow. So we'll wait to see on KCP. Let me see here. Read off a couple of these. Okay. I got one on YouTube saying Gasol is slow. So that's one of the concerns with the Lakers. All right, let me say this about Gasol. You're never going to need Gasol to play 30 minutes a game. So there's certain things Gasol is going to offer. He's still a really good passer. He's still got the ability, just a high IQ basketball player. He's got the ability to give you some assets on the floor. Is he going to be the defensive player of the year he was in whatever year that was? I think 2013 or whatever the case is. No, he's not. Is he? I will say that, his three-point shooting he doesn't look that comfortable shooting right now. He does look a step slow. The hope is, and I think this is probably what Lakers head coach Frank Vogel continues to say, the conditioning part is a concern, not a concern. It's going to be something that improves as the season goes along, and I think Gasol is going to be one of those players. Hopefully his conditioning, his timing improves as the season goes along. Okay. Michael James says interior defense. John Van. I'm going to tie in a couple of these together because I think a lot of people are going to feel the same way about this. Interior defense. John Van says we need a center. Curtis Simpson says size. Rodney Anderson says rim protection. All those I'm going to lump in together. It is by far the most common thing I hear from Laker fans. If there's one thing they're concerned about, it's the Lakers' interior defense, their lack of size. I can't tell you how much I hear Laker fans telling me, I still wish we had Dwight Howard, or if we had a guy like JaVale McGee, then that would take care of always kind of having that ability to have a 7-footer in there that can protect the rim. That's what I hear by far the most. I don't really, honestly, I think, and I kind of knew bringing this topic up that this was going to be the topic that most Laker fans were going to be concerned with. I'll say this. It's a fair concern. Let's see if we still have that worry 30 to 60 days from now. And also keep in mind, if you're trying to go back-to-back, win back-to-back championships, if your backup center role is where, you feel like, because Montrezl Harrell and Markieff Morris are going to be undersized big men that played, they play in the power forward or the center position. It will be addressed if it needs to be addressed. Don't you think that Rob Pelinka in the front office, this is going to be one of those things where they understand that if that's a position that they got to address, I just feel like they'll address it in the trade market or the buyout market or whatever the case is come trade deadline. But it's a fair assessment. What's crazy is actually Lakers still been getting a lot of blocks. They still have had good interior defense, not consistently. Don't get me wrong, not consistently. And it's really where it's really going to be a test is when you're playing good teams in the Western Conference. Because, here's the reality with the Lakers. You beat the Dallas Mavericks, no Kristaps Porzingis. You beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, no Karl Anthony Towns. You beat the San Antonio Spurs, no LaMarcus Aldridge in both of those games. And then you beat the Memphis Grizzlies, no, obviously they got some injuries too. Jaren Jackson Jr., Ja Morant. The two real Western Conference teams that you've faced so far, the Clippers and the Clippers and the Portland Trailblazers, you failed both of those tests. So Lakers still obviously got some work to do. All right, let me see here. Rim protection, center. Basically everybody agrees that the center position on the defensive end is, as 24, Mr. President, everybody kind of agrees that that's the one weak spot for the Lakers. Dennis Cruz says three-point shooting. I think they're actually going to be fine on three-point shooting. If Wesley Matthews can be consistent, AD, they're asking him to take more threes, and he looks like he can hit at a consistent clip. If Kuzma can hit at a consistent clip. All right. A lot of comments here. You know the way I do the comments here. If I like your comment, I read it. If I don't, I just casually pretend like I didn't see it. I don't got time for Jay today, guys. I don't got time for this. All right, Mr. Spicer says we'll get a center later. I got somebody trying to infiltrate the page. I'm not even going to give them love tonight. They get no love tonight. Okay. I think we're good on that one. I think we're good on that one. Okay. Next topic I want to get into. It's kind of tough to try to assess the best team in the NBA right now. It really is. And I know Laker fans are probably going to hallucinate here and say, what are you talking about? It's the Lakers. And I get it. I understand why, you'd make the argument for the Lakers. But let me kind of give a couple teams their fair shot here. Okay? You got a Clippers team that have beat quality teams. They beat the Denver Nuggets. They've beat the Lakers. They've beat the Portland Trailblazers. They beat the Phoenix Suns. They beat quality teams. But they also lost to the Dallas Mavericks by 50. What the hell do I do with that? So, Clippers, you can make a case. You got a Phoenix Suns team that has come out the gate and they're playing great basketball, but then lost to the Clippers yesterday at home. You got a Philadelphia 76ers team that's sitting at 6-1 now. They got the best record in the NBA. And then you got, if you want to make a case, let's say for Brooklyn, Brooklyn's 3-4. So I know people keep talking about the Brooklyn Nets. They're 3-4. So it's kind of really tough to assess just out the gate, the first 2 weeks of the season, who's the best team in the NBA. Lakers, you can definitely make a case for, but I'm going to go back to what I said earlier, that the Lakers have had two Western Conference playoff teams. They lost both of them. They lost to the Portland Trailblazers and they lost to the Clippers. And then in the 5 wins that they have, you could only take advantage of the schedule in front of you, which is why I've kind of gone out on the limb and continue, not gone out on the limb, but I continue to say, look at that schedule. They got to be 12-3 or 11-4 by the time we're 15 games in because the schedule is so favorable. But every game that you've won so far out of those 5 games, key players were missing from the opposing team. So, by the way, Anthony Davis was also missing in that game where there was no Karl Anthony Towns, but Karl Anthony Towns is, everything to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, best team in the league right now, I honestly, it's really tough to assess. But when the dust settles and we're sitting here 30 games from now, I think we're going to know who the top teams are in the league. I think Milwaukee, the Philadelphia 76ers, probably Boston, Miami will kind of round up your top 4 in the East. In the West, the Lakers, the Clippers. I don't know what the hell's going on with the Denver Nuggets. I have no idea what's going on with Denver. Dallas has been disappointing as well. Golden State looks like they're going to win. They'll be 4-3, so they're kind of getting a little bit better. They're getting a little bit better. Portland's a kind of on and off team, so kind of tough to assess all these teams right now. By the way, real quick, thank you as always to Power Pro Plumbing, Heating and Air for being a partner of the station, for being a partner on this social show that we're doing. So if you're local here in Los Angeles, you ever need reliable, trustworthy plumber, heating, air conditioning, any of that stuff, it's Power Pro Plumbing, Heating and Air. So appreciate them being a partner of the show. Okay, we're coming to an end here. Questions. You guys give me whatever questions that you got for me, throw my way, and I'll be happy to answer the questions, and then we'll wrap up the show, Laker fans. We will wrap up the show after this. Lakers, Grizzlies tomorrow. Pregame show 3:30. Tip off at 5 o'clock. Looking forward to do the pregame show with Michael Thompson tomorrow. You know what I'm really looking forward to? Can I tell you guys what I'm really looking forward to? How good are these games going to be this upcoming weekend? I mean, the NFL. How many NFL games they have on Saturday? Lakers got a game on Sunday, but Saturday, no Laker games. Just watch some NFL games. Don't bother me on Saturday. I'm throwing that out there right now. I want to do this ahead of time. Look at Alex throwing in a sponsor plug there. Power Pro Nation. Okay, see what you did there. Where do you see Jorge Contreras? Where do you see the Suns and the Pelicans? Suns will be legit. Legit in the sense that they could win a round in the playoffs. After that, do I think they would beat the Clippers in a 7-game set? No, I don't. Do I think they'd beat the Lakers in a 7-game set? No, I don't. So I think they're legit, and I think they have the ability to win a round in the playoffs. Probably that's it. Who knows? Maybe they make a trade come trade deadline. Maybe they go all in. So we'll see what they end up doing. As far as the Pelicans go, Pelicans are a nice team too. They lost the overtime game earlier today against the Pacers. Pacers, I think, are 5-2, so Pacers are a pretty good team as well. I see the Pelicans definitely as a team competing for a playoff spot this year. Competing. Will they make it? We'll see. But would you be shocked at all if Pelicans are in the playoffs? Not at all. Adding Steven Adams was a great addition to that team. They traded away Drew Bledsoe, or they traded away – I think I just merged Drew Holiday and Eric Bledsoe into one player. I think that's what I did. They traded away Drew Holiday, but Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, kind of some of these other young players. Of course, Zion Williamson. I like their team. I think they got a young, promising team. Okay, let's see what else we got. Somebody's asking me biggest need for Lakers. That's Vincent on YouTube. Vincent, I'm with every other Laker fan when it comes to if Dwight was on this team, there's no hole in this team, but he's not. So, and Lakers made the moves that they made, but just having that ability to throw in a big to play center and give you 15 minutes a game, that would be nice to have Lakers have that kind of interior defender. See what else we got here. Herman is asking if I could block a certain individual from this chat. No, it's all good. It's all good. Anybody's welcome. Come on down. Drew Bledsoe. That's what I did. I combined a football player. I combined 2 basketball players. I merged everyone together into one player. Rockets a playoff contender. By the way, that's a good question. I can't read the Rockets. Look, Harden any night can go off for 40 points and 15 assists. So whether you're a Harden fan or you're not, whether Harden came into this season looking like Harden and I should not have the same body type coming into an NBA season. Harden's a professional basketball player who's won MVP. So him and I should not have the same conditioning skills. But the reality is, if Harden decides, you know what, screw it, I'm going to stay here in Houston and make the best of the situation. John Wall has looked fantastic coming off his injury. This dude, Christian Wood, who I didn't know that much about, Michael Thompson's talked about, he looks like he's a nice addition as well. So maybe they can make a little bit of noise in the Western Conference. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Couple more here, and then we're done. Somebody's asking, will Harden get traded? I think when it's all said and done, he will, but I don't mind the Houston Rockets basically telling the dude, we're not going to trade you because you want to get traded. You're under contract, including this year. He's got 2 more years left and then a player option. They can't just trade you for peanuts. You're their franchise player. So I don't mind them saying, we'll trade you when we think we have enough value for you. But I think at some point, yes, I do feel like he'll eventually get traded. Okay, final one I want to read here. Lil Jimmy on YouTube says, are you disappointed in AD's stats? I was expecting him to take the next step and win an MVP. Let me first preface by saying we don't know how healthy. Remember, AD missed a game because he was having calf strain, I think it was. So we don't know if that's something that's been bothering him. But yes, I do think Anthony Davis out the gate has not played to the level that Anthony Davis can be playing and should be playing every single night. So to simplify the answer there to your question, yes, I think I'm expecting more from Anthony Davis. I think Laker fans are. But let me say this. This is the funny part about AD and the greatness of LeBron, because LeBron does it every night. The funny thing about Anthony Davis is a bad night for him is if he's not 20-plus points and 10 rebounds a night with 2 blocked shots and a steal. So our barometer for AD is incredibly high because it's supposed to be. It should be. He's one of the best in the world. Last night, he struggled from the field, went 6 of 15, still had 3 steals and 3 blocked shots. So the dude finds a way to impact games. My one thing with AD, you just don't want to see him when he's aggressive and he's taking 20-plus shots a night. How do you stop Anthony Davis? You want to see him more at the free throw line as well, because that means he's being aggressive getting to the basket. So I'm not worried about AD. Let's put it that way. But to start off the season, yes, I'd like to see more from Anthony Davis. I'm sure every Laker fan out there wants to as well. All right, Laker fans, we went, how long did we go? Almost 40 minutes here? It's supposed to be a 30-minute show, okay? I mean, I'm on a clock here. I'm on a clock. All right, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you all being a part of the show. Wherever you're tuning in, it's always appreciated. At ESPN Los Angeles, follow us on all these platforms. If you want to follow me, at Allen Sliwa on Twitter, at Allen Sliwa on Instagram. Man, I do not use Instagram enough. My apologies on Instagram for Laker fans. And then on YouTube, Lakers Talk with Allen Sliwa. So tomorrow, pregame show, 3:30, and then we'll do the actual game at 5 o'clock. Once that's all said and done, after the game, I'll do post-game show on 710 ESPN, and then I'll do another post-game show on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all our platforms. Thank you for being a part of the show. You guys have a good rest of your night.